I hope our colleagues are going to take up this task, because the MD cannot continue to be the one leading the presentations. I think when we finish this month, somebody else should come in, so that we make this a continuous process in the organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, MD, for this very, very important foundational presentation. Indeed, what you are helping us to do is what somebody said one time, that for everybody who has a job to do, it's like you have been given an opportunity to cut a tree, and you have only one tool, which is the axe. So what you're doing by teaching us about leadership and the mindset is to help us to sharpen the axe. The presentation is helping us to sharpen the axe so that we can be able to achieve the goals that we want to do, that we want to achieve. I would like to recognize some two board members joined us in the presentation. They joined us in the presentation, and their board member, George Runje, and also Afande Stephen Vasaris and West J. They are in here. I would also like to thank everybody who has joined us during this presentation. The next stage of this presentation will be a discussion by our Deputy MD, Engineer Johnson Amayo, who will give his perspectives on what the MD has discussed and help us to continue sharpening the axe, which is our mind, sharpening the mind so that we can become deliberate, we can become purposeful, so that we can become structured in all the things that we do. I'd like to take this opportunity now to invite the DMD Technical Services, Engineer Johnson Amayo. Yes, Engineer Johnson Amayo, to come and give his discussion of these points. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, the moderator. I want to welcome everybody who has logged in. And I also want to thank the Managing Director for ably presenting this paper on the leadership mindset. I was privileged to be a discussant in the last presentation last Friday, which was discussing the issue of leading with the strategic clarity and focus. And to me, this paper touches a lot on, and is very much linked to what we presented, because you can have all the strategic clarity and focus, but mindset is wrong of the leaders. If the mindset is not correct, you cannot achieve much. So these two papers are really very much linked, and I'm happy once again to be part of this presentation to discuss this paper. What is my understanding of leadership mindset? As the MD's presentation brought it out, it's about attitudes, it's about beliefs, it is about expectations of a leader, expectations that a leader holds that define the foundation of who the leader is, the leadership approach that he uses, and the leader's way of interacting with the people. I think this came out very clearly in MD's presentation. Now, a leader's mindset drives every opinion of the leader. It also determines the decisions that the leader makes and the actions he or she takes. It influences the culture around the leader and sets the tone for the team. The body language of the leader, his mindset will always set the tone. And eventually, he becomes predictable to his people. And for us, we cannot comfortably predict the MD in many ways, because we know, in most cases, you will always take the route of building a bridge rather than building a wall. So, which I think is a good characteristic of a leader. It determines where the leader seeks to understand or to judge. I think this also came up when we're looking at the different types of leadership mindsets. Now, it shapes the leader's decision how to focus organizational efforts in achieving its objectives and creating team expectations. So if you look at the 4 types, I think these are values, mindsets that the leader needs to have. And the managing director's paper clearly elucidates the cardinal types of leadership mindsets. He talked about growth mindset vis-a-vis fixed mindset. We went at length to illustrate why it is very important to have growth mindset. And he did say that, I think one example he cited in his paper is common in national water, where some people come up, don't want to work with this person, remove him from here. As he said, you cannot have a ready-made person. A leader's interest should be to build the people, nurture them, mentor them, give them the tools, and to give them brutal feedback why certain things should be done in that way. And in so doing, a leader will always accommodate the people and will build them. So this growth mindset vis-a-vis fixers is very clear experience we have seen in national water. He talked about learning mindset vis-a-vis performance mindset. Learning mindset, the focus on creativity, innovation, and culture of promoting new ideas. It all comes about with learning. Instead of somebody, another one who is looking at it. So his paper tried to bring out these positive values, the progressive values of mindsets, the kind of mindsets which must be deliberate mindset, promotional mindset, as opposed to prevention. Yeah, so I think I don't need to go through what he elaborated. He brought out this, and he further went to discuss how these different mindsets, especially the progressive mindsets, have been applied in the context of national water by distilling about 10 elements of leadership, which I know is all these cuts across, it is using all the 3, a combination of the progressive leadership mindsets which he illustrated. So I looking at the elements of the leadership mindsets which he discussed, I wanted to have two perspectives in the emphasis to do it yourself approach. This is an approach which emphasizes, from what I understand from his presentation, it focuses on originality of ideas, and it also focuses on self-belief. And this is all to drive change, to promote creativity and innovation. And it's really true that a lot of this has happened. And what drives this kind of approach has so many. It could be economic benefit, because we know if you do it yourself, it can be done cheaper. And it may be certain things are not readily available. So if you do it yourself, you build capacity, you don't have to have over dependence. There may be issues of quality. Like when it came to the issue of IT, it was not just about quality, it was more to do with the costs. And yet we had the people who could do it. And the people, the leadership had to instill a sense of self-belief in our people, and in truth, we were able to have more IT students. And it can be a drive from which is being motivated by the need to customize certain things, and also maybe to show our relevance, because to always depend on people out there, I don't think it's the right thing. So the examples which the MD has cited for themselves, what we have done in national. And I just want to quote also from Napoleon Hill, who says, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So, if you believe in something and you have conceived it, you can always achieve. And we have seen it in national water. In national water. Now, the managing director also brought out the issue of passion. That passion resides. Where passion resides, career also resides. And I want to say this, yeah, if you look at the way National Water is trying to promote the training programs and so on, where you are trying to upscale the capacities of plumbers, it's really a question of trying to align people's passion with the development. And with the passion, where somebody's heart lies, if you develop somebody along those lines, then you can get maximum energy from these people. And Oprah Winfrey said, passion is energy. Now, if a passion is energy, and people are very energetic in trying to do what the things which excite them, you can imagine if you try to align your career growth so that you focus it in the area where people they exhibit the maximum energy, we can get a lot of productivity. So to me, I think this is a very, very key element which we have also seen in national water, and taking it forward, it is going to bring a lot of productivity. And the issue of solution being born where the problem is, it goes without saying. I really don't want to add more than that. I think it's good to say that a worker who knows where the problems are has a better idea of the best tools. We have said this in our capacity development programs. When you have a worker who is an operator, he understands how the pump behaves, and you can be amazed if you give that worker an opportunity to suggest to you what kind of solution can be provided. So solution of problems should reside where the problem is. So I think this paper brings out that fact very well. It also talks about employee empowerment, which is a principle that National Water has employed a lot. Employee empowerment entails provision of employees with everything they need to succeed. However, empowerment goes beyond just resource allocation. There are so many things that bring out the best out of the staff. For example, giving the staff a voice to in the organization, getting ideas from them, giving them feedback. And through these coaching and mentoring programs, I think these have all provided a good ground for getting views from the employees. Humility is the key, and the ability of leaders to accept failure and take responsibility for failure is something that has also been highlighted as one of the key elements that has brought taking national water where it is. And I don't need to go through all the elements, but the last one is the issue of learning. MD has always challenged us that people must have a learning culture. And it's only through learning that you can keep pace with the new ideas which are coming. And John F. Kennedy said that leadership and learning are inseparable. So if you're in leadership, don't think that you can be there when you don't impress continuous learning. So this is a key element, and I think many of us have into that. We have tried to always search knowledge, and I want to encourage all our managers to look to see knowledge as being one thing. Education, because MD talked about, there's a difference between learning and education. Education is getting a paper, you get a degree, you get another one, and get another one. But learning is more than just education. And what he's saying is we need to learn. Learning promotes a culture of continuous change, innovation, creativity, which is very key. So the key message from this presentation is embodied in the conclusion of the paper, where the managing director in his presentation alludes to the fact that leadership mindset is the foundation of leadership efficiency in the organization. So drawing lessons from the leadership mindsets, such as growth, learning, deliberate and promotional mindsets, and coupled also with the concepts of leading with strategic clarity and focus. I think if we draw lessons from this, we can take the cooperation to even at a much higher level. So for our managers who are listening to, who have had an opportunity to, these are lessons, these are elements that we need to impress in our day-to-day practice, and we need to inculcate the culture of continuous learning. So I just drew some few lessons out as my director was presenting, but I'm sure you have your own set of lessons you have take home. But one of the things I can say is that he talked of leadership mindset that which needs to be embodied at all levels of the organization, be it a leader, marketing assistant. Mindset needs to be at every level. We need to have that. And then the right, you either have a right mindset, which is very destructive, or the right mindset. I think the presentation, the message, the key message here is that we should have the right mindset if we have to take our organization to another level. Then there's no ready-made workers, managers. Many of you managers, you remove for me this plumber, remove this one. You have heard it from the process that there are no ready-made workers. It is our duty as leaders. And if you are if you have a growth leadership mindset, you need to understand that employees can change their talents, they can change their abilities, they can change their, so employees can be changed from what they are. So any idea of saying remove this one, because they can also think of removing you as well. So that is a lesson we need to take home. And the learning vis-a-vis education, learning is as a continuous process that we need to impress. A leadership mindset when it comes to issues of welfare go beyond just the normal welfare services we know, but it should go further to look at issues of employee development and life outside work, issues of marriage. We need to think about those. And I think that's how what I can discuss from this presentation. I want to thank him always having taken that time to search and share his knowledge with us, and also giving me the opportunity to be a discussant on this particular paper. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Johnson Amayo, for this very able discussion of the presentation that the MD gave us. Now we are going to the question and answer session. Like we said in the beginning, this series is about learning. This series is about learning from each other. It is about sharpening the axe so that we can do our job better. It is also about helping us review ourselves every day so that we can achieve the targets that we have on our desks every day. So for purposes of questions, please send them through the chat room. If you need to talk, you can raise your hand. You go below the chat. There is a tab for which you click to say raise your hand, and then you'll be able to ask some questions. I already have some questions that have been sent here. The first one was Ishmael Twesigome from Kabare. He said, thank you very much for this learning series. But he would like to know how can management encourage a growth mindset in staff during these changing times. Another question was sent directly, and it says, MD, you said that not everybody knows everything. How can leaders be able to understand their own shortcomings and overcome them, and then be able to provide inspirational leadership to the people they serve? The third one says, you are an inspirational and patriotic leader in the way you lead. How can you encourage some of us and the leaders below you so that we can also be able to inspire the people who are below us? I think we can first answer those three. Like we had said, the questions will be answered by the MD, but if there are other people who feel they want to add some questions, we actually encourage them, because this is a learning process. We encourage them also to be able to add some comments. MD, I welcome you to answer these ones.
Thank you very much, Sam. First of all, before I answer these questions, I want to make an observation. There has been a request that we need to see how to maybe issue certificates to the participants. Yes, I think at the end of the month, after the 4 series, we shall discuss as top management here and see how we can issue a certificate of participation to those people who participated. And not only participated, but we shall also evaluate. And the way we shall do it, we shall ask the area manager of an area to list down the people who participated, and then the certificate can only be issued if we get a report from the area suggesting the names of the people in the area, and the report should really tell us the take homes the area got from this training. First of all, what you comprehended from the training, and the secondly, the practical take homes that you got from this training that are going to help you as an area. That is the only accountability tool which are mechanism which I need from you, and then on that we base on that to develop some certificates of attendance, certificates of participation. Now on the issue of how can management encourage growth mindset, I think this is something that we've talked about in our presentation. First of all, a leadership mindset that is a growth oriented is one which believes that people can change. People's talents can change. people always change if you want them to change and if you encourage them to change. People's intelligence can change, people's abilities can change, and the purpose of this discussion was to really enable our managers, enable our people to do self-assessment and look at the way you have been doing things. Have you been embracing or espousing a leadership mindset that allows people to grow, or you want ready-made people? This one on Sija Kumusobora Agende. This one is now, if you can put that in your head and really help your people to change, help your people to grow, I think that would be helping the institution. It will be bringing sustainability, the way our people do their things. And I think it is part of motivation also of our staff. Then inspirational leadership. Of course, all these training series are meant to really inspire our people. Like, what is inspiration? Inspiration is to put somebody in a situation of doing things better than the way he has been doing them. And this is the purpose of these trainings. We are trying to tell you, please look at the way you've been doing your things. Compare it with what we are proposing as best practice and be inspired. Have a feeling that you can probably do things better, identify rooms of improvement, and see how we can do things better. And by the way, this is not to suggest that the MD, the deputy MD, they are perfect in the way they do their things. No, but this does also not stop them from bringing to you the next practices as far as how to do things better is concerned. So I think let's be inspired. Let this leadership series we are presenting to you inspire you. Let our actions, let the achievements we have made in national water as a result of some of these experiences inspire you so that you can be a better person, you can be a better leader. And encouraging, I mean, how else can we encourage you? For us, we are practical people. The only way, I've always told people that all of you are capable of becoming anything in the organization. And we are going to continue to tell you this, that you can be, you are the next MD, you are the next DMD, you are the next everything that you are not yet, that is better. So I want to encourage you that, and I told you that if you want to, you are not going to be the DMD the day Engineer Mayo is no longer the DMD. You should have been the DMD 10 years ago, and you are just in the queue waiting. And the only way you can do that is to prepare to capacitate yourself, is to build yourself along the way using some of the tools we suggested in this presentation. And I think I've told you whenever I come to your areas that if I can get everybody of you wanting to be the MD, it means you are going to do all sorts of things. But what I've told you is also that you cannot want to be the MD or DMD by wishing that the MD dies or the DMD dies. No, is by you working very hard to make sure that the MD succeeds, the DMD succeeds, and then maybe becomes something better. And if he becomes something better, he leaves the space for you. And who knows, he can even recommend you to be that. So let us all of us aspire to be better people, but it will not come because you have gone to the witch doctor. It will come because you have invested. It will come because you have opened up to new ideas and the next practices. Yeah.
Very much. Cindy Apio says a positive mindset is critical during this time, especially during this time of the lockdown and the pandemic. The second question that comes says, how can you ensure that you keep a positive mindset during difficult and changing times? How do you maintain a positive mindset during difficult and changing times? It can be very challenging to managers. Then the third one is about rewards and incentives. As a leader, having identified very clearly that a positive mindset is a good thing for the organization, are there reward systems and incentives for people who excel in providing positive mindsets, people who deliver results? Then Enos Malambala said, great training, MD. We are grateful and very lucky to be receiving it free of charge. Joseph Mulinde says, thank you. O.O. Gwal also says, thank you for the training. Those are the only questions so far. So you can answer those ones.
Oh, thank you very much, Sam. I think the reward for people with a positive mindset, how are you going to measure that somebody has a positive mindset? For us, I think these are means for achieving great outcomes. And we are going to measure people by their fruits. We know that if you have a positive mindset, positive mindsets are normally associated with great outcomes. And it is much easier for us to look at outcomes, tangible outcomes. And as you know, we already have an incentive system that rewards efficiency, that rewards outcomes, that does not only reward achievement of targets, but also rewards movement towards targets. So I want to encourage you that we are not necessarily interested in your positive mindset, but we are interested in your positive mindset leading into great outcomes. That's what we are interested in. So having a positive mindset and no outcomes is really a waste of time. Otherwise, we are going to find people laughing on the street, and then they say, you know, I have a positive mindset. That's why I'm laughing on the street here. So reward me. So we want the end to justify the means. So you achieve, you get these outcomes. And first of all, we shall use the incentive system we have already to reward you. And secondly, there are all other rewards. We have got managers. We have managers who have become general managers now. And maybe one of the reasons for doing that is because we see people with positive mindsets. We see people who have achieved, and that's how people come to be promoted. So I think let's know that we are doing whatever we are doing, and eventually we want to see national water moving from one level to another in tangible terms, in terms of outputs. And I want to thank all those who have given their commendations for this training. And I can assure you, we as top management, we are committed to ensure that there is continuous learning in the institution. And this is one of the ways for doing that. Sam,
Thank you,
okay.
MD. That's okay. Thank you, MD. There is another one. Somebody says, every organization has got tendencies and assumptions about staff and leaders. In your leadership, how would you handle the complexities that arise from what some people consider bad leaders versus good leaders, then bad staff versus a good leader? Is there such a thing as bad staff? Is there such a thing as a bad leader? Is there such a thing as a good staff? How would you handle those assumptions that people make in organizations?
Sam and the rest of our good listeners, first of all, we must know that leadership is really non-linear. It is not something which you can say 1 + 1 = 2. Leadership is all about opening yourself up. It is all about, it's a cocktail of so many things. And I said it last time that leadership is mostly needed where there are complexities, where there are hardships, where there are uncertainties. That is where leadership is needed. And maybe one of the topics we have not handled and which we may handle very soon is the topic of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is extremely important where we have complexities, where somebody may have to exercise self-restraint, self-assessment, where somebody may need to network to know what is happening, things of empathy, where you need to put yourself in somebody's shoes, where you need to make people believe in what you are saying. I think it is a subject we shall need to handle. And that is a subject that is very much important for handling complex situations. Of course, combined with these things we have been talking about. The mindset, Engineer Mario characterized it very well, that having a good mindset, leadership mindset, improves your predictability. People can be able to predict what you need in order to move forward as an institution. I don't believe in the issue of bad stuff, that you see a person, you say you are a bad person. I think a person should be characterized as bad when you have done all the investments to make him good and you've not succeeded. I always compare this with cows. You know, much as a shepherd might keep the cows somewhere and put a fence so that they don't eat the gardens, but there will always be a cow which breaks the fence and eats the garden, even when you have put a fence. Now, the purpose of putting a fence was to make sure the cows don't eat the garden. So if a cow has broken the fence and eaten the garden, I think those are cows which become candidates for Christmas and Easter and those important days, like the last one of the Muslims. So there will always be people like that, but leaders should not make a characterization of stuff as bad as the first entry point. You look at a person and you say, oh, you are from where? I'm from this part of the region. Ah, you are naturally bad. I heard that you are doing this. I think leaders should learn how to give people a second chance, should invest. And even if you have characterized the person as bad, leaders should allow people to go and appreciate the situation and maybe repent and maybe reconstruct themselves. And I think that's what leadership is all about. Because if you condemn a person, are you different from wishing a person to die? So I think once we have that mindset, we can easily work with people. And I think that's what sometimes we call empathy. But maybe Johnson wants to add on that.
Yes, I think that's you brought it out in your presentation. Having a mindset which is a growth mindset. As you have rightly said, there is no such a person who is bad. It's the responsibility of leaders to build the people and also give them the environment to bring out their best. And when they make mistakes, mistakes should be seen as a way of improving. But when a leader only focuses on the negative, that's where the problem comes. Give the staff the right guidance, the right what you expect of them. They need to understand which direction you are moving, and give them a second chance before. So these things that people are bad, I think I agree with you that it's not the way to go. And I think as you have also brought it rightly, the issue of emotional intelligence is something that maybe you need to work on. And the emotional intelligence also goes together with the personality traits. You know, emotional intelligence can be greatly influenced by how you were brought up, what kind of person you are, and when you combine these two, personality traits and emotional intelligence, these two can make you a better manager. And it's difficult also to say, how do you make me to be inspired? Inspiration is about looking at what somebody does and seeing that person as a role model and trying to understand the things that the person does, which make him tick, and desiring to do the very things that that person has been able to do in life. And then you get inspired. It's a personal decision. It's not somewhere you can say now, because of this, now you get inspired like this. It can never be. I mean, it is a cocktail of things. I need to look at Dr. Silver and see what did he do right, which has put him where he is. What is he doing right, which I need to do so that I can also become like him. So if you know that you are lacking in something, then you need to get inspired to try to bridge that gap in areas where that has made him what he is, so that you position yourself. So that is how inspiration comes about. I thought I needed to also have comments on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MD. Thank you very much, DMDTS. We are going to the last set of questions. And these ones, the first one says, MD, you correctly identified that 90% of the work of national water happens in the field. How is management handling the mass migration of people from the field to the office? Everybody wants to go to the office, and yet 90% of the work is in the field. And then the second question says, many times junior people and young people in the company also have good ideas. How can they contribute these ideas to the management of their areas without appearing to undermine their superiors or indeed threatening their positions? Those are the two questions that need to be answered. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Sam. And I'm really happy with these very good questions our people are asking. The issue of how can people at the so-called lower levels, I don't call them lower levels, I call them at that level. Because when you say at lower levels, it has an element of demeaning. At those other levels, which are very important, by the way, in the organization, how can they be allowed to contribute? And I think that's the reason why we are laboring to discuss these topics like leadership mindset. And that's how we enlisted those 4 leadership mindset areas. Managers, if they are going to be effective, they really need to create a conducive environment for people below them to discuss freely and bring these ideas to them. I think Johnson has been very clear on this, and I've also seen it in practice. I can tell you, most of these people we call low people, those plumbers, these are people who taught us engineering in national water. We came out of material with all the theories, but there are so many things in national water you find in national water. Like in Makerere there, I never studied what a nipple is, what a union is, what a long screw is, what a coupling is. I never studied those things. It was here by working with the lower people, by eating menvus with them, because me and Johnson and engineer Alex, I think, have come from that level. That's how we were able to understand how you align a pipe, because in Makerere, in the engineering school, you don't study how to align a pipe. You don't even study how to thread a pipe. You don't study these things. And yet, you need to know them as an engineer. And it is at that level where you pick ideas of how to connect theory with practice. And that's on the engineering side. Even in the other fields of finance, of HR, there are so many things. Like I can tell you, an HR officer cannot work best without the union person who is with the staff. Cannot work best the human resource officer of any area if you don't go where they are repairing a bus at night and you see how people are suffering. You will not appreciate why you need to pay people allowances during those difficult times. And it is at that point that you learn so many things which are hands-on. So I think we need to allow these people to create environments, and that's the challenge we put to the area manager. You've been put there to grow your leadership skills, and we are only just giving you these things to help you to broaden the menu of where you choose things or tools that will help you to become a better leader. Leaders create environments for open discussion. Leaders create environments for people to discuss freely. Forget about us here. Us here, we are here because we are there. So don't say, but there, why are you not coming at the point of repair? I was there some 20 years ago. So for you who wants to also come here, you need to perfect your work there. Remember, by doing that, by working collaboratively with people at all levels, that is how you will maximize outcomes from there. And don't fear. Don't fear. I'm told there are some leaders, if he finds a plumber has been talking with the DMD technical services, you say, what were you doing there? But really, what is your problem? Are you doing something wrong, which you feel this plumber is telling Engineer Mayo, or what? And if you are doing something wrong, what's wrong with Engineer Mayo knowing it? So really, let's learn how to open up. Let's learn how to be self-confident in what we are doing, because when you are doing the right thing, there's no problem. That's why I've told all of you that when people write about me, I normally don't care, because I know we've been doing the right thing. I don't care being written about. I don't care being talked about. As long as if you are doing things, right things, there will always be no problem at all. So how is management handling the influx of people from the field to the offices? I can assure you, the mindset we are having now as management, and which we are always informing the board about, is that 90% of the work of the corporation is in the field. And therefore, we are going to put systems that reward much more people who are in the field. That's why we talk about data allowance. We talk about shift allowance. We are now going to even introduce more tools to reward more people who are in the field. People who are in the field will be rewarded much more. We are going to pilot it now with this non-revenue water, because non-revenue water, for example, for Kampala is a little bit of a problem, and we need committed people in that area because it is possible to tackle non-revenue water challenges in Kampala, for example, and we are going to try to incentivize people to work in that area and tackle a wide range of issues that are quite important process-wise to reduce this non-revenue water. And we've been discussing. I hope we can fully come together in that leadership mindset that we need to even build our capacity building curriculum in a way that people who are in the field, if you are a plumber, you can be enabled to develop your proficiency in that area, even vertically in terms of academics. So if you have a certificate, you can have a advanced certificate, a diploma, and our minds are still thinking, how can it go upwards. Some of us are a little bit more close with the Ministry of Education now. I think we should be able to explore some of these possibilities so that the training is more competence-based rather than this theoretical thing, which I see our people running for. And if we can do that, then we shall encourage our people to remain in the field where most of the work is.
Thank you very much, MD, for this very good presentation today. We continue to benefit. Like we said in the beginning, this is the process of sharpening the axe. This is the process of realigning our mindsets. This is the process of helping us to get better in the job we do as we learn from each other and as we teach each other. Even in our local languages, the process is known. For example, from Amayo's place, sharpening the axe is called Ogara Sijizu. And then if you talk to the Wanyankore say, Okutia Sempango. And then they actually say, Pakolatong. The Waganda say, Okuwagarembazi. And the Iteso call it Aipenaep. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 10 minutes to 6 o'clock. I'd like to thank all of you who participated today. I'd like to thank the IT team. They have been very good today because the first time we had some hiccups. I think we've been able to defeat those hiccups. I'd like to invite you to come back to this session next week at the same time. For the area managers and all managers, I encourage you to rally your staff to come and join. This presentation, the longer version of the presentation, the write-up is on the MD's website. It is called selvamugisha.com. I would encourage you to visit it. We are also going to put it on the Water Herald website. But thank you very much. Let's be continuous students in the pursuit of excellence in our jobs, in pursuit of delivering our targets. I thank you very much.